What's up, everyone? Welcome to Grinders Live. I'm your host today, TJ Zwarch. I am not Dean 78905-602-387-3646. He is off, away, gallivanting. Hoping actually he's going to have a really great time. Pretty cool. He's headed to Miami for the outdoor Florida Panthers NHL hockey game. And so shout out to our guy, Dean, a well-earned day off. Hopefully he has a fun time at that game. And instead, myself and the wonderful Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides, are going to be taking care of you the next hour and 15 minutes. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing well, TJ. Yeah, Dean playing a little hooky, going to a hockey game. Like, how dare he? How dare he have fun on a Friday evening with a little outdoor classic NHL game? That is one sporting event that I wish that I could go to be honest with you. Like, normally I'm kind of over it, in terms of like going to sporting events, but the outdoor game for NHL, I would actually love to do that.
Not something I've done either. Considering it's actually the professional sport closest to me, I haven't gone to that many NHL games. I'm not that far from Calgary. I'm not that far from Edmonton. I think I've been to 2 or 3 NHL games in my life. I've actually been to more NBA games than I have NHL, just for some odd happenstance. But hopefully Dean has a good time tonight. We are, of course, breaking down the NBA slate. We got a 7-game slate over on DraftKings. Haven't actually double checked the total over on FanDuel yet, if they cut it off at the 7 as well, or if they are going.
No, it's 10. It's 10 on FanDuel, 7 on DraftKings. I believe at 9:00 Eastern time is that first FanDuel game.
Yeah, so on FanDuel, we do still have to deal with Golden State ruling their entire team out, some other injury news later in that one. The stuff, I feel like, for the most part, for the DraftKings slate, we almost have all the stuff we're waiting for already. We still have some injury news in New York we are waiting on, with both Mitch Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns listed as questionable. Moussa Diabate is listed as questionable for Charlotte still. But other than that, we've gotten most of the news that we were actually already waiting for, with the most recent one being, what's his face? Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy being ruled out for the Pelicans, opening up a ton of value there as well. So, Tim, I was looking at things and I was kind of shocked. We have an intense amount of value tonight. No really big spend ups. There are a lot of great spend ups in the 8K, 9K, just under 10K range, but no expensive ones, no real expensive ones. And so we have a ton of value from the Spurs, from Brooklyn, from the Pelicans. And although there's a lot of options, not a lot of expensive options. How are you planning on attacking today's slate?
Yeah, I mean, there is just so much value. And like you said, there isn't like a whole heck of a lot of guys to like spend up for necessarily. So it's kind of an odd slate. My first instinct, like we're already getting questions in the chat, like, do I need to be eating this Brooklyn chalk? And like, yeah, I think we need to be eating at least some of it. But my first instinct was like, was San Antonio. That's definitely the team that seems to be simming the best in terms of that value, with no Wemby, no Vassell either, but obviously Wemby is the big one. But I mean, there's just so much value here. There's so many different ways that you can kind of build around this cheap stuff. Like when I pull up lineup HQ, there's just, like, in terms of points per dollar, there's guys that are like 8.7 points per dollar. Like, that's just insane. Tons of guys in the high 6s in terms of points per dollar, which is, we usually get a few of those, but I mean, there's so many on this slate. So it's definitely going to be, you're definitely going to have to get to at least probably 3 or 4 of these really, really like low end, cheap, chalky guys on today's slate. It's just one of those slates. I think slates like this are kind of unfortunate. I think that it's kind of like they're not very fun to play, because you have to put bad players in your lineups. Like, you just have to, and you have to trust the projections team And yeah, so it's definitely one of those slates where there's going to just be tons of value.
I think on FanDuel where you're getting SGA is there, but let's be honest, when Golden State's already rolled out their entire team, they've taken the L. We're getting 3/4 of SGA tops. It's tempting to just hit the lock button on Luka Doncic, even though he's 12.1K, just because there are so many value pieces. So if you sort of just take him as the free square and mix and match all the other pieces, I think that might be the way to attack FanDuel tonight.
Yeah, FanDuel Luka is definitely in our first optimal. It's definitely he's so easy. He's so easy to play over there. So I mean, it's definitely a little bit different over on the FanDuel slate. But it's it's still kind of similar. We still have all these really nice value pieces, and it's it's not that different other than we have Luka, and you're definitely playing Luka in cash games on FanDuel.
If you got some questions, feel free to get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat, get them into the YouTube chat. We will drop clue number 1 for Film Friday today as well before we start going game by game. And so we got Film Friday going on. Get your guesses into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat there. If you put them in the YouTube chat, they will not count. So make sure you get them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. You get one guess per clue. If you get it right, you win 1 free week of RotoGrinders Premium or 1 free week of scores and odds. Your choice. Clue number 1 is chaos. So clue number 1 for Film Friday is chaos. Steve guessing in chat. His first guess is Sonic. It is not Sonic the Hedgehog. Tim, you got any guesses? Feel free to get them into the private chat as well.
I am the worst at this game. By the time we get to clue 3 or 4, I'm going to completely forget that we're playing because I just can't. I never get it. I think I've gotten it right like twice in all the shows I've done with Dean.
Maybe it's because you just can't vibe with Dean's clues. Maybe with my clues, you're gonna
maybe I'm worried about giving really good NBA advice. Maybe that's what I'm more
that
worried
could
about
have something to do with it
than Film Friday or Movie
could
Monday.
have something to do with it as well. I do think this is a pretty fun NBA slate. Despite it being gross, like we had the Pick Six show this morning instead of Wednesday, just because Wednesday night was New Year's Eve, and so we did the Pick Six show this morning. And just really diving into the week 18 of it all for football, like with just so many people sitting, these games don't matter for so many teams. It kind of feels like that type of day for NBA as well, with multiple teams just being like, half our team's going to be out today. And so it kind of just felt like it's bleeding into this NBA slate. But even though there's not a ton of overly expensive options on DraftKings, I think there's still enough pay-ups on this slate that we still can utilize some of these cheap value. And then even I feel like there's so much of it. I don't know if any of it is going to be really egregious chalk today, at least when it comes to those super cheap guys on DraftKings. But let's start diving into it. We dropped the first clue for Film Friday. It is chaos. Let's talk about the first game on this slate at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Sprint slate on DraftKings, where all the games are starting at either 7, 7:30, or 8. Brooklyn at Washington. Brooklyn, this is one of those teams with half their guys out today. It seems like they are actually underdogs in Washington. Not often we see an underdog going up against Washington, but Washington is favored by 3.5. It's a 224.5 total in this one. Start with the Brooklyn side. Who do you like tonight on a team that the most expensive player is Noah Clowney at 5K?
Yeah, this is really a weird game. Not only do we rarely see an underdog in Washington, we kind of rarely see a close spread, and so it's kind of like it kind of wants you to go even further into this game, given the fact that it's kind of a close spread. So no Michael Porter Jr. So that's obviously a ton of usage that needs to be eaten up by some of these kind of lower end Brooklyn pieces. It's definitely going to be a very chalky night for guys like Day'Ron Sharpe. He's going to be probably, I mean, he is right now projected to be the highest owned player on the entire slate. Last update I saw was right around 34%. Obviously, it's kind of too bad that he's center only, so you do have to take up a center spot there. But I think that for people that are like wondering, like, you know, what chalk should I be eating here from this Brooklyn side, I think it's almost a very good chance that I'm going to be playing Daron Sharp in my single entry, and you're definitely going to be playing him in cash games, and that's for FanDuel as well. So I would take up my center spot with him. So I mean, he's definitely going to be super popular, and I think he's a good play. And then the other guy is Noah Clowney. He is 5K on DK, projected for 36 fantasy points. I mean, somebody's got to have to play here for Brooklyn, and these guys, Clowney should be playing pretty big minutes here. So we have him projected for 32. Honestly, I could see a way where he might even play more than that. So absolutely love Noah Clowney here, and then you can fill in as you kind of build out more teams. You can get to Igor Demon, you can get to Terrence Mann, Zaire Williams is fine. Danny Wolf, especially on FanDuel, but even on DraftKings, completely viable. So there are definitely six Brooklyn pieces here that I'd be building into heavily in GPPs. But I think Clowney and Sharp are the priorities for cash games / single entry stuff.
In 150 today, I built some rules around this team that I want to play a max 2 of Clowney, Sharp, Wolf. Clowney, Sharp, Wolf, I did a max 2 of those guys. I think they're shorthanded enough that they could absolutely get 2 ceiling games of that group, especially if one of them gets in foul trouble or something like that. The other 2 are probably going to have to play a ton of minutes. And so do you think there's a case where you can get all 3 of those optimal, or are you comfortable? Would you be comfortable as well with a max 2 of those 3?
I think given that group of 3 that you mentioned, I think going max 2 is fine. Are you building any rules like for the entire team to not only get to 2 in a team? Or are you going to have 3 in one team?
I was okay with going up to 4 before we got the New Orleans news. But once we got that New Orleans news, there's just so many pieces that I want to get at least a taste of. And so I did max 3 for the whole team. And I have Zaire Williams in the pool, Igor Demon in the pool, going to be getting a fair amount of both of them. And then Drake Powell is the only other one I'm considering, but I don't really like it. But just since we're going to have some chalky Brooklyn pieces today, he's one that's not going to be. I think I have him in like 3 of 150 lineups.
Yeah, because currently a lot of optimals are giving 3 Brooklyn. Definitely Zaire Williams is definitely fine if you want to include him. He's currently in our first optimal. We'll get a question in chat about him. I think he's okay. Derek's asking in YouTube chat. Like I think Zaire is completely fine. I would say he would be the first one that I would kind of exclude, maybe not exclude, but the first one that I would not include in my single entry. Like, I don't think you have to play him just because there's so much other value on the slate and there's so many different ways that you can kind of use your salary today. So I don't think he's like some kind of must. Whereas I think that Clowney and Sharp should be guys that you're getting to, 3 out of 3 and 3 max, and definitely should be in your single entry team.
Agreed on that one, 100%. I have in my current build 60% Sharp. And this is a guy like on another slate, Sharp would be getting the lock button for me pretty clearly, just because he's such strong value. Like, he's projecting for almost 9x. But there's just so much value on the slate. That's the reason I'm not quite getting that much. So I'm planning on getting about 60%. And then Clowney at about 40%. Williams at about 20%. Wolf at about 20%. Demon in the 15 range is, I think, how I'm going to be sorting those guys out. But right now, my cash game team does have Williams, but Clowney and Sharp are the 2 I'm wanting to make sure I get in there. The Williams thing for me, it's not even that like I think he's that good at value. It's just small forward sucks so much. And there are a couple other guys that I don't mind, like Peyton Watson, Keldon Johnson, but for the most part, it's just a really, really weak position. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm getting there a fair amount today.
Yep.
What
No,
about this?
you are correct that small forward is pretty bad, and that is the case. That is the case for Williams. But I do agree with that take.
What are your thoughts on the Washington side, where nowhere near as enticing as Brooklyn? I do think there's a couple interesting pieces, but this is probably going to be like a max one Washington player, I think, for me, maybe two, but I'm not overly interested in getting to a ton of them. How about you?
Yeah. So Washington, like when I ran Sims right before the show, I'm getting to Washington the least out of any team, at least on DK. Let me just check FanDuel really quick. I think it might be a little bit different over there. Yeah, they're kind of middle of the road on FanDuel, but they are simming terribly on DraftKings tonight. So not by no means a priority here. I think that if you wanted to run back one of these Washington pieces with all that Brooklyn chalk, might be Alexander Sarr at 6,800. Maybe just go double center out of this game. But honestly, none of these guys really project that well. I do not have a ton of interest, especially on DK. I just don't. On FanDuel at 6,100, CJ McCollum, he's shooting guard, point guard. I think that's okay. And Sarr is power forward power forward center, so I think that it makes him like an even better play on FanDuel. So if you're playing FanDuel, I think Washington is at least in the conversation, whereas DraftKings, due to positional constraints, I don't really like it.
My thoughts exactly. I am getting to a max of one, but a sum of these Washington guys, and the only three in my pool are. Let me switch screens here for a sec. Trey Johnson, I'm gonna have about 5% of. Champagne, I'll have like 5% of, and then Alexander Sarr, I'm gonna have about 5% of as well. But not guys that I'm getting to in any type of abundance whatsoever. Before we go to the next game, I'll drop clue number 2 for Film Friday. Get your guesses in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. One guess per clue. You get it right, you get either one free week of RotoGrinders Premium or one free week of Scores and Odds. Clue number 2 is phone. So clue number 1 is chaos. Clue number 2 is phone. Get your guesses into the live stream Discord chat. San Antonio and Indy, we got another game with a ton of value where one side looks a lot better than the others, but there still is a pretty interesting game tonight on both sides, just from an implied team total perspective. San Antonio going into Indiana. Let's start with let's start with San Antonio, where they got some more expensive options than Brooklyn, but I think they're kind of on this same tier of great value we want to target.
Yeah, so like I think I mentioned it at the very top of the show, I'm getting to more San Antonio Spurs than any other team on the entire slate. Like I kind of thought that Brooklyn would be flooding everything, but it makes sense, I guess, that San Antonio really is. And the first person I think that we got to talk about is Luke Cornett. He's kind of your pivot, if you want to call it that, off of Day'Ron Sharpe. Like you could hypothetically play them both together. Although I think that kind of probably you're kind of building into a lot of chalk there. But Luke Cornett is kind of like the pivot off of Day'Ron Sharpe. I still think that I'd rather play Day'Ron Sharpe over Cornett, but I think if you wanted to get some exposure to him, I'd rather play Sharpe over Cornett straight up. But Cornett is okay in GPP. Harrison Barnes at 3,800. We kind of talk about filling those weaker positions. We obviously have Clowney, who's power forward only. Harrison Barnes is power forward only. He's kind of your pivot off of Clowney if you don't want to eat that chalk. So, yeah, and then I think De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle. Getting to a ton of both of these guys in Sims. Castle is currently in our first optimal. He gets a big usage increase with no Wemby and Vassell on the court. So Stephon Castle, I think, is in play in all formats. I think I prefer Castle over Fox, but it's super close between the two. You certainly can play both if you want to. But I mean, both of the San Antonio, Indiana, Brooklyn, Washington games, both of these games are at 7. Like, I would be building in heavily into these games. Like you don't need to wait around for. I mean, I guess there's the Karl Anthony Towns news, which is important, but assuming we have that, these two games are where it's at tonight. Like, there's going to be so much usage and so much value to go around between San Antonio and Brooklyn. They're all really, really fantastic plays. Yeah, so it's really, I don't think I really want to play any Keldon Johnson. I think it's really just the starters for me for San Antonio. And then on the other side of this game, Andrew Nembhard I think is pretty interesting. He's simming really well. So I think he's like an interesting piece to like a game stack of this game, getting to like 25% of him in sims. So I think Nembhard is super interesting here. I think Pascal Siakam is okay as well, especially with no Wemby on the court here. So I think Siakam is somebody pretty interesting here that you can get to in GPPs. And then maybe Aaron Nesmith as well, small forward only. I kind of worry he might not have like a huge ceiling here, but I think he's a decent play off the bench here for Indiana. So there are from like a total game perspective, I like this San Antonio Indiana game more than the Brooklyn Washington game. There's just so many ways that you can build into the San Antonio game.
I don't think it stacks up for me as high as the Portland New Orleans game, which we're still going to get to, but I'm with you. I think I might like it better, especially as a game stack, than Brooklyn and Washington. On the San Antonio side, I think Castle will be my number one priority, but I do still like Fox. And then I like the bench guys a little bit more than you, Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson. I'm still a big fan of those guys today. And then I'm getting a small amount of Champagny, Fournette, and Barnes. On the Indiana side, same thing that you mentioned. I like Nembhard. And then I have a little bit of Siakam, but not as much of them as I have of the San Antonio side. If you were kind of like, obviously, we still have some time to figure it out, still can wait for some things to adjust, but how many Spurs do you think you're getting in a cash lineup right now? I think I landed on just Castle for mine, which is why I asked.
Yeah, I think it's just Castle. And I think that while I do like Castle more than Fox, well, it's pretty close. It's super close between the two. Obviously, they fill different positions. But if you don't have the 400, I think it's okay if you play Fox. I think that I would still lean Castle. I know Castle is popping in our first optimal right now. It's super close between the two. But I think if you don't have that $400, you can play Fox.
All right, let's go over to the next game here. No guesses yet in the Discord for Film Friday. It is not Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It is not The Ring, but I see where you're going with that. Not Speed, not Home Alone, not Daddy Daycare, not Uncut Gems, but some good guesses out there. Keep those guesses coming in. Next game, Tim, we have Denver going into Cleveland. Denver, another one of those teams that is very badly dealing with the injury bug. They've been priced up a little bit better. They don't have near as much value as some of these other teams, but still some strong plays, I think, today. Jamal Murray looks really good. Peyton Watson looks really good at a weak position. And then I saw we had a question about Daron Holmes as well. He's somebody that I think is worth keeping in the pool. And then on the Cleveland side of things, they're finally starting to get a little bit healthier here, although they're priced pretty well. Denver and Cleveland, huge favorites. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean it's really I'm concerned about a blowout here. I obviously love Jamal Murray. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to him today. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad play. If he comes in around 20%, which I think it was our last ownership for him was around 21%. I'd probably come in underweight there, but that could obviously come back and burn me. I'm just a little bit worried about the whole blowout thing here. So it's definitely a tough situation. I'm kind of struggling with this game. Like, our guy Mari Doneasy in YouTube chat, asked about Daron Holmes. It's really tough because we've got Daron Sharp, we've got Luke Cornett, right around that like same kind of pricing tier. So he's definitely third out of that group of three. but he's okay. Like if you want to play him in super large field, I guess that's okay. I just don't think I could get to him in single entry or 3 max. I think Bruce Brown coming off the bench at 4,300, you can play him at point guard, shooting guard. I think he's a pretty decent value. The rest of the starting 5 though for Denver, I don't know. Like I'm interested to hear what your take is. I don't really love them here.
I don't either. I think Peyton Watson is a guy that I like a fair amount just because it's a weak position. But other than that, I'm not getting to a ton of Denver outside of Watson and Murray. I'll check exactly how much Holmes I have, but because I'm playing so much sharp, it's probably not a ton. Yeah, I have 5% Holmes. 5% Holmes, 5% Cornette, 5% Sar out of the centers we've talked about so far, with 61% sharp. So going quite heavy on him tonight. But Murray is my favorite. Don't mind Watson, but not getting to a ton of these guys. And on Cleveland, kind of same thing. Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, sure. Don't mind any of them. Probably don't want to play more than one of them in the lineup. Mitchell, probably the one with the highest ceiling, but Mobley and Garland have both had some good fantasy performances recently. They're fine, but I don't love them. This is one of my least favorite games on the slate. Probably my second least favorite.
It's definitely it's kind of been it's just kind of hard for me. Like you're kind of like worrying about a blowout. You're kind of worrying about what Denver's going to be doing with the rotation. I'm with you. Like if I was building up more teams, obviously I'd probably be getting to some here. Sims, they do like Peyton Watson quite a bit, getting to 38% of him. But it seems, and Bruce Brown, Sims does like Bruce Brown quite a bit as well. Getting to a lot more Donovan Mitchell than I thought I would in Sims. He's 9K. This game does have a 240 game total, which is pretty good. It's nothing crazy, but it's in line with the other games that we've discussed. It's in line with the Atlanta New York game that we're about to discuss. So it's definitely okay. It's not my favorite.
I am Steve OJ in chat asking about Jalen Pickett playing some bigger minutes for the Nuggets lately. Not a great fantasy point per minute producer. Is that somebody you'd consider if you were playing more lineups? I personally don't have him at all in 150.
Given that he's point guard only, I don't know. I don't love it. Like you said, he's not like a huge output guy. I don't personally think that that's great. There's so much really strong value on this slate. I don't think this is the night to be hunting for that. I don't know, 16 to 20 for 3,500, which normally would be good, but I think on this slate that's not that great.
Atlanta and New York. This is one of the ones we are still waiting on some news from, with Karl Anthony Towns and Mitch Robinson both still listed as questionable. Let's talk about the Atlanta side first, where no Trae Young, but Kristaps Porzingis going to be back in this one for a couple minutes. 19 we have him projected for right now. Start with the Atlanta side, where I think Jalen Johnson's one of the best spend-ups on the slate. He will be owned that way, and I don't mind some Nickeil Alexander-Walker either. Who do you got on the Atlanta side?
Yeah, you're definitely going to be getting to a lot of Jalen Johnson here. He's currently kind of just popping everywhere, whether it be in optimals, whether it be in sims. Absolutely fantastic play here. So it's definitely a pretty easy decision for me, at least in cash, to be rostering him. He is, I mean, he's not a guaranteed triple double, but he's pretty darn close. You never really know, but I think he's a really good bet to get you 60 fantasy points. And so this game should be relatively close. The game total is in line. It's right around that 240 mark. So it's in line with the other games that we talked about. Jalen Johnson's absolutely a top play today. Outside of that, for Atlanta, they're pretty much a pass for me. They aren't even simming that well in terms of like larger field stuff. So I got like a tiny little pinch of Dyson Daniels, but that's really it.
I really hope that Towns plays. Like, one, just because we need different spend ups to be able to differentiate with, but two, I just don't want All right, now we got to jam Jalen Brunson everywhere as well. And if Mitch Robb is out, Diawara is probably going to play a ton of minutes, and maybe Hook Porty enters our lives again. I just don't want to have to deal with that. There's so much value on this slate. I do not want to have to deal with that, and I just hope Towns plays.
Well, we have an if then for if Cat and Mitch Rob are out, and you're definitely going to be getting to a ton of Jalen Brunson, but the other guy is OG Anunoby. It's he ends up being a really, really strong play at 7K. We'd have him projected for 40 DK points. So he would end up being like a really, really strong play. I'm not so concerned about some of these cheaper Knicks players. It's really just Brunson and Anunoby for me.
I think that's totally fair. I will get some Towns, assuming he plays. I don't mind getting to a little bit of Karl Anthony Towns tonight at all. Brunson, Towns, OG are currently the only three that are in my pool. And then on the Atlanta side, I'm only getting to Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker as well. Let's drop clue number 3 for Film Friday. First two clues were chaos and phone. No correct guesses yet. Get your guesses into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. You get one guess per clue. Clue number 3 is Piper. Piper is clue number 3. We got chaos, phone, and Piper as the 3 clues so far. One guess per clue. Get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat for your chance to win one free week of either RotoGrinders Premium or Scores and Odds. Next game, Tim, we have Orlando and Chicago. Fairly close spread in this one. Orlando still without Franz Wagner. Chicago, no Kobe White, no Josh Giddey. They're quite heavily undermanned as well. Let's start with the Orlando side. Banchero, I see, has a couple dots in lineup HQ from Neil and Bobby. Who do you got on the Orlando side tonight?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a really, really good matchup. He's 8,600 on DK. I think he's completely fine. He's going to be around 15% owned, I think. So he's not going to be overly chalky. So I think if you wanted to get to him as a pivot off of maybe even Jalen Johnson or pivot off of Zion Williamson, who play similar positions. I do think that Banchero is certainly interesting and can kind of fill that power forward spot in a contrarian way. So I think in that way he's okay, but he certainly is not my favorite play just because I think that power forward position is so strong. Outside of Banchero, I'm getting to a little bit of Desmond Bain. Not a ton, but a little bit. I'm getting to around 10% of Desmond Bain. For what it's worth, getting around 10% of Banchero. That's really it. I'm getting to 1% Wendell Carter, 2% Goga. But this game kind of falls pretty flat for me in terms of the overall picture of the slate.
Yeah, I think Banchero and Bain are quite interesting for Orlando. I'm getting to probably about 10 to 15% each of those guys, but nobody else on Orlando. It's a great matchup against Chicago. Everybody's just priced pretty appropriately, and I don't see a ton of ceilings on those other guys. Like if Suggs was playing more minutes, I'd love to go there, but now that he's back, I don't really want to play any Jalen Suggs tonight at that price with that minutes limits or anybody else around him because the value got kind of sucked away. What about the Chicago side where Vucevic is projecting really well? He's also projecting to be pretty chalky. I can't play Vucevic chalk in 2025. I don't think. I just can't do it. Even in a revenge spot, I can't get the chalky Vucevic. I'm more likely to play Buzelis, Trey Jones, maybe even Jalen Smith.
Yeah, and the other case against Vucevic is just that we already have such really really strong centers here that we can save at. So I don't necessarily want to play him. We have him 20% now. I think that's gone. I think it was a little bit higher earlier in the day, but still not really my favorite play here. Like you said, I think I'd rather play some of these other bulls here, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, Buzelis, even Jalen Smith, I would prefer getting to here. So I agree with you. I'm not going to be eating the chalk with Vucevic. I just would rather I'd rather kind of save or if Cat plays, I'd rather just spend up.
That makes sense as well. Anything else from Orlando and Chicago you want to hit before we move to the next one?
I don't think so. Did you already mention Kevin Herter or Io? Are you getting either one of those guys?
I'm not getting either one. Herter projects fine. I just don't really like ever playing him. Like, I feel like he's had one mega ceiling game before, and that's kind of it. Yasumu I like a little bit better, but I'm admitting this is probably poor play on my part because this is probably not a profitable strategy, but I've just been burned by IO too many times this year, and I don't want to do it again. It's just a personal bias.
Yep.
Portland and the Pelicans. This is my favorite game on the slate, where the Pelicans are without a bunch of guys, Trey Murphy, Derek Queen, a whole bunch of guys today. And then on the Portland side, they have one of my favorite spend-ups on the slate and another mid-range guy that's getting a little overlooked as well that I'm very high on. We got Zion Williamson projecting to be one of the chalkiest players on both sites tonight. Let's start there. Let's start with Zion. What are you planning on doing with him? And then let's expand out to the rest of New Orleans.
Yeah, he's definitely has a really, really safe floor here. Like, he's still not getting like a ton of minutes. Like, he's still only hovering around that high 20s mark. He still has not pushed over that 30 threshold. But at 7,500, he doesn't really need to. And so he's got an incredibly safe floor in this matchup against Portland. He is currently showing up in our very first optimal. He's going to be pretty popular, but I think that's okay. So if you want to eat this chalk, I think it's fine. This is not my favorite game, but it's definitely going to be up there. This is a fantastic game for a game stack. It's a close spread. It's a high total. I absolutely love Jordan Poole here as like a lowish owned. I mean, I guess he's going to be around 20%. So, I mean, not super chalky, but I love Jordan Poole tonight. I'm curious your take on Yves Missi at 3,700, just because we already have all these fantastic value centers, but he projects pretty darn well. He's not going to be popular. I wonder if he's going to be a pivot of yours at that center position.
He's my second favorite one behind Sharp. I'm getting to about 20% each of Missi and Danny Wolf. I really like him as either a dual cheap center play alongside Sharp or a pivot off of Sharp. I do like Sharp a lot more for what it's worth. Like, I'm getting 60% of him and 20% of Missi, but Missi definitely somebody I want to be over the field to today. I like him a lot.
And what are your thoughts on Fears versus Alvarado? Are you getting to more Alvarado? Because I see that he's a better points per dollar play, whereas Fears is projected for more raw points. Are you getting much like how are you doing this Fears Pool Alvarado? How are you handling that group of three for the Pellies?
So it's going to be Alvarado 1 for me. He is always one of my favorite people to target anytime he gets extended minutes and extended runs. So he's going to be number 1 for me of that group. Number 2 is going to be Jordan Poole, just because he has shooting guard eligibility, and shooting guard is a lot weaker of a position than point guard. And then Fears is dropping to 3rd for me. Now he's not even that much more expensive than Alvarado, so that probably is not the best idea on my part to go so heavy on him and then lighter on Fears, but I'm still going to get to like 30% Fears, so I won't exactly be underweight there. Right now, I have 50% Fears, 50% Alvarado, 30% Fears, 40% Jordan Poole. So it goes Alvarado, Poole, Fears for me, but I love all three.
Yeah, that's a really, really tough decision. I think no matter what format you're playing tonight, is the whole Pelicans guard situation. I know Alvarado has been popping in optimals all day. And it's pretty tough. Like right now, it's just Zion in the first optimal. But if you build like 150 teams in lineup HQ, you're getting to a ton of this whole Pelicans guards here. So I love the aggressive stand on Missi. I think that's a really, really good play. It's going to be interesting to see how this game shakes out. And then on the Portland side, it's really just Avia for me. I'm getting to some Kamara. I think that Klingon is okay in like super large field stuff, but it's really just Avia for me. He's going to be super popular. He might be the highest owned player on the entire slate. It's a really tough kind of decision. Like, you're probably going to be playing both Jalen Johnson and Avia in cash games, but if you're playing GPPs, it's tough to, you might want to build something different, like maybe not play Jalen Johnson and Avia on the same team, just because that's going to be like really, really chalky. It's kind of, I think that straight up, I might prefer Avia over Jalen Johnson just because I think I prefer this game a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm with you there. This is my favorite game on the slate by a pretty significant margin, just because of positionality. I think I'm getting to. No, I have 40% Avdia and 39% Jalen Johnson. So pretty much an even split of those two guys. Going back to New Orleans for a second, I also did make a rule of max 2, Alvarado, Fears, and Jordan Poole. Comfortable getting 2 of them in the lineup. Don't want to go all the way up to 3. But I'm with you with Avdia 100%. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. And then I also like Shaden Sharp. I think Shaden Sharp is a really interesting tournament play. Inconsistent, like he's not somebody you're playing in cash. He's not somebody that's going to project super well because of how inconsistent he is, but frequently has over a 30% usage rate whenever he's in there. And if he gets hot, this is a guy that can put up some big scores. And so this is a game I want to target a ton. Shaden Sharp is somebody on the Portland side of the ball that I do really like as well. Who do you like better right now, assuming Towns is in, Brunson or Avdia?
Right now, it's Avdia, definitely.
Towns is out.
That is a very good question, though. That's a really good question. Like, should you be pivoting to Brunson over Avdia if Cat is out? And I think the answer is you should be pivoting. I mean, it's tough. You probably want to kind of reconstruct your team. I think we will be projecting Brunson just shy of Avdia's projection, but he is a little bit cheaper too. I still think that I'd probably go Brunson. I think I'd go Brunson.
I want to get that Towns news soon, because what I would probably do in my lineup, if I can do it early enough, which won't be the case if the slate locks, is I'd actually probably want to switch Castle and Zaire Williams in my main lineup to Brunson and some other small forward. Would probably be the way that I would want to go about it, instead of just pivoting down from Avdia. I think I would try and get Avdia, Jalen Johnson, and Brunson all together in that case, because I think we have enough value to make that work. Another question I wanted to throw at you of like a 1v1. Who do you like better as a 3K flat cheap punt, Bryce McGowan's or Zaire Williams?
Oh, I think you got to go Zaire with that one.
Because there's only 2 points per projection difference between the two of them right now. So like a catch, definitely Zaire, but I don't think there's necessarily like a big discrepancy between the two of them. Neither of them are great fantasy point per minute guys. Freddie asking if we like Misi more than Matkovic. Yes. We're not projecting Matkovic for very many minutes tonight. I think we're only projecting him for 15. Now, he could play a little bit more than that, but I think Looney and Matkovic are probably going to eat into each other a little bit there, and I think Misi is going to be the main option just because he is quite good defensively.
Would you play Richard had a question in YouTube chat. Would you play Misi in DK single entry?
I'm fine with that. I would probably play him with Sharp, but I'm totally fine with that. We had a question from the game before that we missed that I want to touch on. Are you going to play any Isaac Okoro for Chicago today?
I don't think that's that great of a play. I mean, we haven't projected for 20 points. We have so much value on this slate. I'd much rather play Bruce Brown there by quite a bit.
Yeah, he had one good game recently where he got pretty hot, but Isaac Okoro, typically not a guy we like getting to, as he is a very, very low fantasy point per minute producer. FanDuel cash, you want LaMelo Ball or De'Aaron Fox? That's got to be Fox, right? For cash.
I would assume it's got to be Fox. Let me just double check prices here. Yeah, you're going Fox.
All right, let's go to the next game. But before we do,
are you playing any Caleb Love?
I do not have any Caleb Love. How is he projecting right now? He's somebody I usually like getting to a decent amount.
Yeah, I mean, he's projected
for
okay.
20. I don't know. I feel like I just must have kind of missed him because that's a nice projection too.
It's a really nice projection, and he's kind of a pivot off of that the chalkier side, the other side of that game. So he's kind of a pivot off of that whole Fears, Poole, Alvarado, kind of that group of three. So I think Caleb Love is super interesting, and you can play him at shooting guard. So I do think he's somebody that should be added to the pool. He's 4,600. I think he's super interesting, and he's a good if you think that you might need to play a little catch up. Like I know it's kind of a sprint slate, but if you feel like you might need to play a little catch up and get off some ownership, he's a good kind of late swap option off of some of the chalkier Pelicans guards. Mitch Robb is out.
Ooh,
and then Cat is a game time decision.
Damn it! Come on.
Yeah, that's kind of brutal.
I thought we were gonna get both of that right now. I'm currently gonna play it as if Cat is in. That's currently how I'm gonna be building things. Mitch Robb being out doesn't really move the needle for me that much on anything. How about you?
No. That's not the news that we need. That Mitch Robb news is really not super important.
I did just add Caleb Love to the pool, and I'm going to run another set of lineups right now that I'll get him into. Another follow-up from Freddie. We got Cornette or Misi, DK single entry, small field.
Yes. So I think that's one where TJ and I are going to disagree. I'd rather go Cornette, but Misi's okay.
Yeah, I don't think if you have the salary to go up to Cornette, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. DK, GPP, Kamara and Misi, or Herder and Love. That's a Kamara and Misi, I think, for me.
I agree.
All right, let's drop clue number 4 for Film Friday. We have 3 so far: Chaos, Phone, and Piper. No correct guesses so far. You get 1 guess per clue. Get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat, and you can win yourself 1 free week of RotoGrinders Premium or Scores and Odds. Clue number 4 is dozen. So we have Chaos, Phone, Piper, and dozen. Chaos, Phone, Piper, and dozen. 2 people immediately guessing Cheaper by the Dozen. The name of I'm not going to put the name of the movie in the clue. Come on. But not Cheaper by the Dozen, but I will say your head's maybe not at the worst type of place. FanDuel GPP, would you play Fox and Castle together?
Yeah, I think that's completely fine. I really like that game. Fox and Castle are showing up in a lot of lineups together. I think that's completely fine.
All right, let's go to the next game, the last one on the DraftKings slate. There are, of course, still some FanDuel games as well, which we will cover. Steve guessing Cheaper by the Dozen as well in the YouTube in our private chat. No, guys, come on. If the clue's dozen, the movie's not going to be Cheaper by the Dozen. But we'll explain it all. We'll explain it all as soon as we get to the end here. Charlotte at Milwaukee. This is my least favorite game on the slate. I said the Denver one is my second least favorite. This is my least favorite game on the slate. I have no Milwaukee. I have no Charlotte, or I do have a little Charlotte. I have a little LaMelo Ball, a little Brandon Williams. I don't want to play much of this game at all, though. How about you?
Any Ryan Rollins?
No, I like to exclusively play Rollins when Giannis is out. So with him back, I don't like getting to him a ton, especially with the big emergence of Kevin Porter Jr. I just feel like he hasn't shown near as much of a ceiling recently.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. This game is definitely bottom of the barrel. Really not. I think eventually, LaMelo Ball is going to absolutely smash a $8,100 $8,100 price tag, but it's just so hard to click on that tonight on this slate. I think if you're kind of like laying there naturally, like if you need somebody like, and if you wanted to like pivot off of some of those chalky Spurs guards that are like right around that same price point, I don't hate it, but I'm not playing him in my first 10 lineups. So I'd have to build out quite a few to get to any LaMelo Ball. I think Brandon Miller is somewhat interesting at 7K. I think he definitely has a ceiling to pay off that price tag. Is Diabate still questionable?
He is, yeah.
Okay, so Saloon, I wonder how he would project if Diabate. I'm assuming he would take the starting 5 spot, and he's power forward only. I wonder how he would project. I would definitely maybe keep an eye on that injury, but we already have so much value. I don't think it matters a ton.
Giannis Antetokounmpo has not played more than 28 minutes since returning. He's gone up slowly since coming back from injury. We're currently projecting him for 30 minutes today, which does not have him popping at all. How many lineups do you think you'd have to get to before you play a Giannis one?
A Giannis team? Oh, man. I'd have to be building out a 150 set. I mean, and even then, I would just get like maybe one. I don't know. Like he would not reach my first 20. No chance of that.
No, definitely not. I am currently thinking about getting to like 3 to 5% of him in 150, just in case this game stays close. He happens to get 31, 32 minutes instead of the 30 we project. There's just so much value that from a raw points perspective, I think it could. There are situations where it could happen, but not very many. I'd also make a rule there that I want to play one of LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller in that lineup if I'm playing Giannis as well, but not somebody that I'm looking to go to in any type of abundance. Just maybe somebody that I'd want to sprinkle a little if I'm playing 150 lineups, which I am. DKGPP.
He can certainly beat Atvia and Jalen Johnson on any given day. So if those guys kind of fail and he gets you 60, we have so much value tonight that those raw points could end up being super valuable. So I don't hate it.
Absolutely. DKGPP, you want Wolf and Io or Watson and Misi?
I guess Watson Misi.
Taking a look at some of the guesses that we have in the YouTube in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord. It is not So I Married an Axe Murderer. It is not Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It is not Ocean's 12, Expendable 3, 12 Monkeys, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Coyote Ugly, John Wick. None of those. I'll drop clue 5 here fairly soon. But in the meantime, anything else you'd want to touch on from Charlotte and Milwaukee, and anything else you'd want to recap on this DraftKings slate?
No, I mean, just keep an eye on this cat news and kind of figure out what you want to do in case that news comes after 7, like if you want to be leaving spots open or not for it. Just because those 7 o'clock games are really enticing. So just kind of pay attention to what you're doing with that news.
Very well said. I did end up getting 9% Giannis in my last build, so that is fairly significantly more than I expected to get, but I just realized I'm low on Zion there, so I'm going to bump him down a touch as well. Do some readjusting. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Here is build number probably 20 of the day coming in. If you're someone who is looking into the idea of building 150 lineups, but you don't really know how, and just kind of you don't really know the process of that yet, I will say the first set of 150 lineups you spit out, usually not the one you're going to go with. After you spit out 150 lineups in lineup HQ, you're going to want to go through all your positional players and make sure that you're getting around the amount that you want for each of these guys before you are just firing in a lineup, unless you're utilizing SimLabs. SimLabs, it's a totally different story because the ones that they give you there, they will be built in the Sims to perform in a GPP. But in addition to SimLabs, we got a really cool tool, Tim, called PickLabs. Not sure if you got a chance to try it out yet, but PickLabs is the newest Fantasy Lab feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you from edges to win rates to value. It's a clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sportsbooks and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. And when you see something you like, PickLabs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. For a limited time, you can access fantasy. You can get access through a Fantasy Labs DFS subscription. Visit fantasylabs.com/pricing and use code FLEX20 for $20 off your first payment. You'll be wondering how it wasn't a thing already. Do you have, as of now, do you have any 3 of 3 players on DK? Not sure what Derek Ringering means.
Yeah, just players that you'd be going all in at 3 max is what he means.
Oh, and 3 max, all in on 3 max. That makes sense.
Yeah, Dayron Sharp. Where did he go? Noah Clowney. So those 2 definitely. Probably Denny Atvia, but that might change depending on this whole cat news. So you'll know what to do with that. Just play Brunson, in my opinion. So definitely the 2 Brooklyn guys would be 3 out of 3 plays for me. And then I think that's kind of it in terms of guys that I really want people to be playing heavily here. I think you could play one of Fox or Castle in all 3, because I think that those 2 guys are both really, really strong today. But definitely those 2 Brooklyn pieces for me are 2 guys that I'd be committing to right now.
I am going to pull up a screen share here really quick, Steve. I don't have my I'm not logged in on my producer on my producer account on StreamYard right now, so I'm going to need you to actually show the screen for me in a second because I am on my hosting desktop, not my producer laptop right now. But I'm going to pull up my DraftKings optimizer because we did have a good question from somebody in the Discord chat bringing up how it's tough to. I'll just read the exact question instead of paraphrasing here. Give me a second. When building 150 lineups using Lineup HQ, a lot of the lower projected lineups contain all the same contrarian low-owned plays I have in my pool. So those guys aren't put with the chalky high-owned guys as much. Instead, they are paired with the other low-owned guys. Any thoughts on this? That is one of the reasons why something like SimLabs is really beneficial, because it will consider the lineup construction in addition to just like the projection that it's spitting out, whereas Lineup HQ doesn't. But there are a couple ways to combat that outside of just looking at your lineups and adjusting the players by hand. One of them is to change the ways that the optimizer is spitting out the lineups, the orders of it. And so you can hit the use running exposure percentages when building tab, this one right here. And then another thing you can do that I don't typically use it very often, but you are absolutely can, is this ownership setting group right above it. If you hit the max total lineup ownership, if you keep it at a pretty low number, like I don't want to actually hit optimize and show the optimal lineup because that's why you got to get an account. But if you keep that number pretty low, it should differentiate the good players you get with the bad ones, because it'll try and keep your minimum total ownership a little bit higher if you have that number up, and your maximum total ownership a little bit lower. So you don't get those lineups that are just like 25% owned total because everybody in the lineup is 5% owned. You'll get a mixture of the higher owned guys and the lower owned guys when you adjust those min and max total lineup ownerships. 2 ways that you can make that adjustment a little bit. Let's throw the final clue in for Film Friday. We got no correct answers yet. I do have some bonus clues on the table for if we don't get it in 5 here. I will say, if you've seen the movie, if you know the movie, clues are very spot on to what it is. If you do not know the movie, it could be a movie that's a little bit out there, maybe the most well-known movie. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know what people know. If that's the case, then you may not know it. But the clues do fit with the movie very, very well. So your final clue is Christmas. We have Chaos. We have Phone. We have Piper. we have dozen, and we have Christmas as the 5 main clues. Get your clues into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chats, and you get 1 guess per clue if you get it correct. And we did just get a winner. Somebody I don't see winning very often, so shout out to a fairly new winner. I think we got New Beach 22 taking down the Film Friday on clue number 5. We will go through all of those clues shortly. Steve will hit you up in the Discord and get you either 1 free week of RotoGrinders Premium or Scores and Odds. Let us know, New Beach 22, which one of those 2 you would prefer. Congrats on the win. Let's take some questions here, and then I think we will have time to quickly go through these 3 FanDuel games as well, Tim. Thoughts on playing Clowney, Sharp, and Misi all together for DK single entry?
Yeah, I mean, you understand the risk with Misi, but I think he's fine. So yeah, I don't mind that at all.
What are your thoughts on De'Aaron Fox tonight? Both of us like him quite a bit, but I think we both like Castle just a touch better.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think they're both fantastic. It's actually, I think Fox is currently right now in our first optimal, but it's kind of just continuously is going back and forth between those 2. But yeah, I slightly prefer Castle. Super close.
What are your thoughts on Donovan Clingan?
He would not make my first 20. That's just my opinion.
All right here. That'll do it.
Do you have any Clingan, TJ?
I don't have any Clingan in 150 lineups. I got nothing. I got none of him. There we go. Sorry, just had to send a message quick. We got New Beat says he wants RG Premium to win. I will go through the clues right now for those playing along for Film Friday. We did have our winner in the Discord chat. Clue number 1 is Chaos. I saw this movie for the first time a couple days ago. It is one of my wife's favorite movies, especially for a holiday movie, a Christmas movie. And I was shocked at how crazy this movie was from start to finish. The wildest things going on, people getting shot, some really dark type of comedy jokes, and for what is kind of pictured as a chill family Christmas movie, some real dark comedy in this one. Number 2 is Phone, because the main crew is centered around a group that works at a suicide hotline. They are not good at their job. How do I want to say this? They are not good at their job, and that comes up quite frequently in the comedy of this, and hence the dark comedy aspects. But Phone, because a large portion of the movie is set with them answering people's phones and interacting with each other based on what people are saying on the phones. Number 3, Piper, because one of the main actresses in this movie, Parker Posey, got very extra famous and memed from her last season on The White Lotus going, Piper, no! And the GIF went a little bit viral. The soundbite went viral. And so we got Piper as clue number 3 because the movie features Parker Posey. Number 4, Dozen. A lot of you are right on it with Dozen, because I picked that 4 cheaper by the dozen for Steve Martin, because Steve Martin is, of course, the lead of this movie. And the answer is not cheaper by the dozen, but that was the first movie that came to my mind when I thought of Steve Martin. And so we got Dozen in there. Number 5, Christmas, because it is a Christmas movie. The movie is Mixed Nuts with Steve Martin. 1994 it came out. Crazy movie. Honestly, just
I've never even heard of it.
Check it out if you're still in the holiday mood. If not, save it for next year. Came out in 94. It basically just looks like a combination of like SNL sketches, but they have so many great comedic people in this movie. And so I would really recommend it. I saw it for the first time. It is kooky, it is wild, it is silly, but I had a good time. Let's quickly go through these 3 FanDuel games we got here, Tim. They are, of course, got a 10-game slate out here for us, as opposed to just the 7 we got on DraftKings. Sacramento and Phoenix. Phoenix is 14-point favorites in this one. Sacramento is just, God, it would be tough to be a Kings fan right now. I'm happy I'm not dealing with that, because they're just in, well, I don't even know what that lineup is. It's just a bunch of old guys. They don't even got this young core to build around. It's just a bunch of old guys. They're going into Phoenix. Phoenix got a pretty healthy 120 implied team total. Grayson Allen is listed as questionable. I think you can pretty comfortably X out this game, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily exit out. I don't mind Devin Booker at 9K. I think he's got a pretty nice floor here. I think if we knew Grayson was going to sit, we could play Colin Gillespie here. I know that his price is going up, but he's still only 7,100. I think he could still pay that off, especially without Allen. But yeah, it's pretty darn close. Like you certainly could cross this game off. It's not my favorite. These last three FanDuel games, just as a whole, they're not fantastic. These are not great late night hammer games. The earlier part of the slate is much more enticing. So I personally think Sacramento is a really easy cross off here. So really no interest in any of the Sacramento pieces. A tiny little interest in Phoenix, but not much.
Very well said. I think even somebody I think Mark Williams has a pretty decent ceiling. Doesn't pop out all the time. He sometimes doesn't play very many minutes, but we know that ceiling is in there. Next one up,
I would like Mark Williams quite a bit here, but the slate is just too big and there's already too many good centers. Yeah. But yeah, I do agree with you. In a vacuum, Mark Williams is a pretty good play at 6,300. I just think the slate context kind of makes him fall off for me.
Next game, we have OKC at Golden State, where OKC's big favorites. It's in Golden State, but they've ruled out Curry. They've ruled out Jimmy Butler. There's no Draymond Green. The most expensive player is a $5,200 Brandon Podziemski. OKC, I don't care about anybody. Like maybe there's just like if this was again a tougher slate, I'd say, hey, maybe you play Isaiah Joe or maybe you play AJ Mitchell. Because if this game turns into a blowout, those guys can get extended minutes, potentially blow away their price tag. And with Mitchell, I still think there's somewhat of a case for that. But there's just so much value on the slate that we don't have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, you don't need to. I would say that Pat Spencer at 3,800, he's a pretty strong play. He's in our first RG optimal right now. So I don't mind him. I don't think you absolutely have to play him though. But I will say, I mean, this is a really tough matchup. They have 106 implied team total, which is terrible on this slate. So I don't think any of these guys are priority. But I would say that Spencer's the best. Podziemski at 5,200. He's point guard, shooting guard. I think that's decent, but I wouldn't consider him a priority, especially with Jordan Poole only $200 more. So I strongly prefer getting to Jordan Poole here. It's definitely Golden State's kind of interesting because some of these guys are going to rate well from a points per dollar perspective. I just think there's better matchups and better values on the slate. Outside of Pat Spencer, I do think Pat Spencer is a good play, but again, the amount he's going to be really highly owned, and it's kind of up to you whether you want to eat that chalk. I don't think it's amazing chalk. I think it's okay.
I really wish he did have shooting guard eligibility. We've seen him when he gets minutes this year be a very strong point per minute producer. So I'm with you. I'm totally all good with Pat Spencer at 38. I'd prefer him over Podziemski, but I think Podziemski would be my next favorite, maybe with a Will Richard as the other one I'd take a shot on if I were playing a ton of lineups, but not something I think you necessarily need. Final game of the slate. We have Memphis going into the Lakers, two teams that don't play a ton of defense. Very high total in this one. Lakers with the third highest implied team total on the whole slate at 123. We got a ton of value. And so we were talking, like, I just want to load up on as much Luka Doncic as I can because raw points are going to matter with the amount of value we have tonight. And I think getting Luka and a bunch of cheapies who are going to 10x for you isn't a bad way to build on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, I think Luka is absolutely a priority tonight. We currently have him around 25%, maybe closer to 30. Either way, I'd get overweight that. His raw points are really going to matter on this slate. I absolutely love him here. He's the only Laker that I'd be playing. It's so easy to play him. Like you can play Luka and like two other 8 to 9K guys pretty easily on FanDuel tonight, and I think that's exactly what you should be doing. So Luka is kind of like my probably my favorite quote value on the slate, just because I think he that those 60 fantasy points that he's projecting for tonight are going to be super, super valuable. So Luka, he's my first click on FanDuel tonight. I'm only playing a little bit on FanDuel tonight. I was kind of busy earlier today. I wasn't able to get into the lobbies fast enough, but I am going to be playing Luka tonight on FanDuel.
Eric Johnson in chat asking who's the top spend, Luka, SGA, or Giannis. It's Luka, and it's not particularly close. Luka and SGA and Giannis might not eclipse 30 minutes, and Luka might eclipse 40. So it is not particularly close between those three. A couple other questions we got here. Can you rank the three Bulls: Trey Jones, Jalen Smith, and Matas Buzelis?
Sounds like Derek wants to play a Bull tonight. I guess Buzelis, Jones, and Smith.
Are you okay with playing Wolf and Sharp together tonight?
Yes.
I agree 100%. I just probably wouldn't have Clowney in that lineup. That's the rule I'm setting, is max 2 of those 3. I do like the idea of playing 2 of them. Probably wouldn't want to get to 3. I kind of glossed over the Memphis side a little bit, but John Morant is super cheap, coming off a game where he played in overtime 34 minutes and put up 49 DK points, $7,500. We know that ceiling is there. Even Jaren Jackson, we know there's a ceiling there. Santi Aldama could have a ceiling at that price. None of these guys look overly exciting because they're all priced up and they're a pretty healthy team, but I think any of those 3 in a large field GPP could be fine.
Yeah, if Jaw's really going to be under 10% on FanDuel, I could see getting overweight that. That is a pretty nice price, and I think that's a pretty good call. Outside of that, I'm not getting to any Memphis here. I think there would be a pretty easy exclude for me.
You comfortable playing Zion and Macy together?
Yeah, that's fine. That matchup is really good. I think you can play 2 Pelicans.
Thoughts on TJ McConnell? No,
No,
not tonight. Too much value. Alex the Don asking, TJ, are you playing Cyberpunk 2077? Yes, I am. I am in the midst of playing that game right now. Having a ton of fun with the story. Pretty cool to see a game with Keanu Reeves so heavily featured in it, like not just his voice, but as full-on mocap, like he's just in it, hanging out with you. I hate that it's first person. I hate that it's a first-person shooter, a first-person RPG, and not third. I like third-person ones way, way better. TJ McConnell or Alonzo Ball as a value guard? Neither. Any more questions here? Does not look like we have them in the Discord or the YouTube chat. We should have the Crunch Time crew coming in at any minute. But Tim, can you give us a recap of kind of the top teams we're targeting tonight? Maybe our core plays from a cash game setting.
Yeah, top tier team, San Antonio, Brooklyn. I think they're pretty easily the top tier today. Definitely should be getting pieces of the Pelicans. That Pelicans Portland game is going to be really, really important for GPPs today. Don't forget about the cat news, whether you want to save a spot for Brunson, because I think that Brunson does become a priority if Cat is out. You're definitely going to be starting out cash with Clowney and Daron Sharp. And then I think you're going to be playing one of De'Aaron Fox or Stephon Castle. And that's kind of like how you should be starting off with these 7:00 games. And then you can kind of adjust for that cat news and then figure out what you want to do after that. But, definitely I think those 3 pieces, Fox or Castle, Clowney, and Sharp. A lot of people were wondering, like, who we're going to be playing at small forward. It's Zaire Williams and cash. Like, you can play him in GPPs. He's not my favorite. I think Keldon Johnson is a really interesting pivot that you can play.
In the optimal I'm looking at right now, and I don't like it.
Oh, really? Yeah. And then I think that, maybe Julian Champagnie is another one. Like one of these Spurs, I think you can pivot to in GPPs. It's not like I have a problem if people want to play Zaire. Like I get it that he's min priced. I just don't love it if you're going to be playing him into a ton of ownership. So that's my opinion on him. If I show up with him in cash games, that's fine. I find it unlikely that I'm going to be showing up with him in single entry stuff.
Assuming Holmes starts, ignore his higher price tag. Who do you just like between him and Misi straight up raw points?
Between Holmes and Misi, raw points. Man, I just love. I think it might be Misi. I think I'm going to go Misi.
We got the crunch time crew here and ready to rock. But before we bring them in, I want to ask you, who is your slate breaker tonight? Who's going to help people take everything down?
I'm going to go Jordan Poole.
I like it. I'm going to go with my guy on the same team in the same backcourt, Jose Alvarado. Always one of my favorite DFS players to mix in when he is cheap and when he's going to be picking up extra minutes. He is my second highest owned play on the slate behind Dayron Sharp. I'm going with Jose Alvarado to break the slate. But actually, ever since I adjusted things, I do actually have the exact same amount of Alvarado and Poole. So I have 40% Poole, 40% Alvarado, 40% Zion, going very heavy on those Pelicans today. Without further ado, let's bring on crunch time. No Roth quite yet. He is one of the many of us dealing with a little cold, a little sickness, a little something, and so he should be popping in here shortly. And there he is, ready to rock on cue. How you doing, my dude? How you feeling?
I feel okay. I have strep. I tested positive. Thank you for stepping up. Let me get tested. But I feel pretty good. So strep ain't nothing. It's nothing.
He says before spending the next 3 days unable to talk in bed.
Yeah.
Absolutely hating his life.
Maybe a bit of overconfidence. We shall see. But I feel pretty good.
It's the weekend. You don't got any more shows till Monday now. It's a good time to talk shit to the cold. And then even if you do get hit with it, we won't know because we're not going to see it till Monday.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I feel good. What are we doing? I missed out. Who's leaving us? Who's hanging with me?
Tim and I are getting out of here, and you got Beer and Kirkdiese hanging out with you till lock.
Very good.
I'm on the injury list here.
You are as well? What'd you do?
Yeah, I've got some. I don't want to get into what it was. Something I had something on my pinky that was like bloody and like bleeding, like a cut, like a something. I poked it to drain the blood, and it hasn't stopped bleeding for like 3 days. I've lost like a half gallon of blood, I think.
You might want to go to the doctor. I'm no doctor, but
I've got 3 Band-Aids and a latex glove over here, so ready to go.
That is serious stuff. You should go get
We're
that
just
checked out.
As a collective group of analysts and hosts, etc., we are going through it today.
Yeah, we almost didn't have the show, right? We almost didn't have Grinders Live.
Tim stepped up, and because he had his own appointment today, almost wasn't able to make it back, and we would have had to can it today, or I could have just talked for straight hour and 20 minutes, just no breaks, just go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're happy that you were able to step up. You gentlemen take a little break, and we'll carry it on through lock.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right. Good stuff. As always, welcome to it. Now you know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the industry. 2 of us are ill. I thought my strep was bad, but at least I haven't been bleeding for 3 straight days. And then we got Beer just looking pristine, looking divine, healthy, and ready. What up, Beer?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna knock on wood here. You guys with all these injuries and illnesses and feeling good, man. Had a good holiday, good New Year, and 2026. I mean, we got a nice slate of games here tonight. The chat looks fired up, so let's not lose any more blood, Kirk. Let's not talk too much, Roth, and you're not going to have a voice, and let's get to people some winners.
Okay, well, that's what we came here to do. If at any point Kirk just passes out, he's frozen now, but if
he might have already, he might have fallen out. Hopefully he's all right.
He may have collapsed onto his computer. We shall see. It's good to be back in the saddle. I had a little break. Do you do the stay up till midnight for New Year's or no?
I do. Yeah. So it's interesting. When the kids were younger, it was, they're all around. Now they're mostly teenagers, older, and, they some of them go out, some are staying, some have friends over. So it looks different every year. But yeah, we still do the midnight and the champagne and the sparkling wine for the kids and count it down. And I'm not the biggest New Year guy. I'm always like, calendar change, big deal. But it's always a fun night. So it's definitely changed. So, as we get older, it used to be go out and party. And now I'm like, I have zero, not even 1% Roth, zero interest in going out and doing all that anymore. So it's just funny how things change as we get older.
It goes from the best night of year to go out because you get to make out with a hot chick. It's like a lock. You get to make out with someone. It's a guarantee. To suddenly you're married and it is the worst night to go out because there's $50 cover and you can't get a drink and it's just a nightmare of a situation. So
you can't get a ride after.
Can't get a ride after. The Ubers are insane. Everybody's wasted driving around. Anyways, welcome back, Kirkdiese. Let's dive into it here. We've got 39 minutes until we hit the lock, and I need a rundown. I need a rundown from someone, like as if I haven't followed basketball in 5 days. I need that kind of rundown. Beer, what do we got tonight?
You have a lot of injuries. That is your rundown. If we could compare tonight's slate, you compare it to basically NFL Week 18, where guys are ruled out. You got guys coming out of the woodwork you never heard of. That is the rundown on this slate. We don't have a ton of games, but we are missing some huge names. I mean, Wembanyama, Trae Young, Nets going to be without their best two scorers. Josh Hart is out. Jokic is out. Giddey. I mean, the list goes on, Roth. So that's the story of tonight is what value is going to get you there compared with what everyone else is playing. So I think there's some angles we could take. But that's the story to me. This is the most injuries I've seen on an NBA slate so far this season.
Okay, very good. We got some stars out. We got some value in. Let's dive into it. We like to start on DraftKings. We like to start at point guard, and we like to start with Kirkdiese in your face. What up?
What up? I just saw that my boy Bobby, someone said he just won a huge amount of money on.
I saw somebody say he won like over $100,000. Is that
okay?
Nice,
sweet.
Let us know, Bobby. Let us know what you hit, man.
He didn't even send me the screenshot or anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And he's in the secret text, right?
No, he's not. He's not in there. He would end up beating the crap out of everybody in there is how it would turn out if he was in there.
120K and a 50K for our guy Bobby.
Nice. Woo. On what? We got to know what happened. Well, I didn't see any of this either. Usually I'm pretty in tune on this. So
yeah. We got to hear more about that. Kirk, what are we doing? Point guard, DraftKings, walk me through it.
Point guard, DraftKings. Okay, so they have Denny Avdia is point guard eligible. Is point guard now from Portland, which is kind of weird, like just thinking about it, but he does handle the ball. He does do everything, does everything. He gets so many freaking minutes. And it's the Pelicans, and it's the Pelicans with like missing like a lot of rim protection and everything. So, and just bad defenders out there. So, he's going to be popular tonight, but he's an awesome play. You got De'Aaron Fox without Wemby. I don't know. I'm a little torn on whether that's a good or a bad thing for Fox. It's a good from his own scoring aspect, but nothing easier than lobbing up an assist to Wemby for a guy as fast as De'Aaron Fox. Jordan Poole is going to be a little popular, but he's benefiting from some guys out in New Orleans. So I think he's getting the start tonight. And I don't know. I'd probably fade him, but Tim liked him. He could go off. I could see it. I'm just at this point in my DFS career, I'm just out on Jordan Poole. I think is just my rule. But it's just me. Jalen Brunson is in play. We're waiting on cat news. We don't have that yet, right? We didn't have that, Beer?
Have not seen it yet.
Yeah, so that's like the last big thing. Mitchell Robinson is out, so I think that cat probably will play, but we don't know. He's questionable, and he was a downgrade today. So that's kind of scary. Igor Demon for Brooklyn. Washington is like a very interesting game. It's Washington's favored by 3.5 points. I don't think we've ever seen that this season. Maybe have we, Beer? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Brooklyn's missing Claxton, Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas. You know, he comes off the bench anyway. Only plays limited minutes, but he's not out. He's out. Yegor definitely could be a pretty solid play, and there's going to be good plays from this game. I mean, that's just a juicy freaking game too. This is like a G League game.
Mm-hmm.
So like that. And then I do like TJ was saying Jose Alvarado. I like that call. Probably coming in off the bench, but 3,900. That'll keep his ownership in check, and he just has big upside. So I think this is a good spot to actually play CJ McCollum with Washington favorite and what should be a competitive game against Brooklyn, missing a Claxton as their rim protection. So that's where I'm going to draw the line. But those are the guys I like tonight.
Okay. And is this Alvarado's first game back since he threw those hands, since he went straight Rugnet Odor?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That was so awesome.
Absolutely.
I love to see a little guy throwing hands. Beer, your thoughts at point.
This Jordan Poole hate is not going to stand. I mean, this guy, he's a fellow Milwaukeean like myself, so I will continue to play Jordan Poole. Good price. He's going to have ownership, like Kirk said. So there is pivots. You know, Alvarado's a little risky, but doesn't cost you a lot. And then you have Jeremiah Fears, a little bit cheaper and going to be a lot less owned. So I think all three of those guys are viable depending on what you're looking for. I still like Poole the best if I'm playing cash games. Tournaments, if you want to get off that ownership, Alvarado will probably be under 10%, Fears 10 to 15, I would guess. So all three great options. De'Aaron Fox, fine. I don't love him. He's generally a guy I don't play a ton, so I'm not really getting to him tonight. But I see why people would. No Wemby, good matchup. He's going to be pretty popular though, so I'm avoiding that one. I do like Demon. You're going to hear a lot of Brooklyn guys tonight, which is strange, but they're almost all in play. So every position we go to, there's going to be value that you can go to from Brooklyn. He's been good when he's gotten opportunities. Production been up and down, but this is a guy that can get it done in a variety of different ways. So I really like him. If you're spending, it's Avdia for now. If Cat is out, I think that easily becomes Jalen Brunson at 9,200. So we'll keep an eye on that news. That game 7:30 start. So hopefully we get that news. We probably won't, but that's how I would handle those two. And then in the mid-range, really like Trey Jones, just stepping into a much bigger role without Gideon White. So I think he's in play. And Jamal Murray is going to be not as owned as those two other high-end guys. And no Jokic. Now, the numbers, for some reason, don't support this. You know, running it in court IQ, I figured, going back even, you take Jokic out, you would expect Murray to see a huge jump. The numbers just aren't there. But, you know, it makes sense that without Jokic, somebody's got to do more of the heavy lifting, the scoring. So even though that usage bump isn't there for him, I still think Jamal Murray in a good spot tonight.
Okay, let's go to shooting guard, Beer.
So shooting guard, my favorite is Stephon Castle. I mentioned I'm not as high on Fox. I do like Castle tonight at 7,400. Again, you can slide any of Poole or Trey Jones in here and get the dual eligibility. Value-wise, I still think it's Poole is the best option. McGowan's is probably going to get more minutes for New Orleans. He's minimum priced. We have him projected, I believe, for 28 minutes. So if you really need a punt, you want to get off some ownership, don't mind him here tonight. These Brooklyn, this is a spot I don't love the Brooklyn guys. Man, Tyrese Martin, not my favorites. I think I'd rather save or go down to McGowan's if you're doing anything. Bruce Brown is in that cheap category at 4,300. I think you can give him a look here for Denver. Champagny is another Spurs guy. I don't think is going to see a lot of ownership to kind of get you off some of that Fox ownership. He's only 4,500. And then Donovan Mitchell, 9K is a great price. Denver's defense just not what it used to be. I think he's a great spend up here tonight.
Okay. Kirk, your thoughts at shooting guard?
Beer left out the great narrative we have. We've got the Jones brothers playing each other tonight.
Ooh. That's tough. The brothers know your moves. It's tough going against your brother.
Yeah, I hear you.
One brother is good, though, and one is not so good. So
yeah, that's true.
There's that.
Yeah, so like I said, I get Jordan Poole. He's going to chuck a million shots. He's probably going to ham. But at ownership, at like I'm thinking he's going to be like 40, 50%, at least in like smaller field stuff. That's why I'm kind of passing on him. But Stephen Castle, like Beer said, like him. I always like Desmond Bain. It's kind of a problem sometimes, but I think he's in a decent spot. Shaden Sharp, I like for 7,500. And I actually do think you can play Terrence Mann. It's risky for sure, but like this, if there's ever a spot that he needs defensive stats, he needs steals, he needs to get out in transition to have a good game. It's Washington, it's a tight game. I do prefer like Clowney better, from a Brooklyn Police, but at 4K, I think that it's very possible that Terrence Mann could be a key piece tonight, but it's not likely. And that's about it.
I did get some news. Diabate is out. Not sure if that changes things for us, but we'll get there in a bit. In the meantime, Kirk, let's go to small forward.
All right. Small forward. Well, we can play Desmond Bain here again. You can play big body Keldon, 4,700 with Wemby out. Doesn't have the highest minutes ceiling, but certainly can produce. And he did play 31 minutes in his last game. So that's that if he gets that, then he should smash at 4,700. Mikal Bridges is interesting, especially waiting on this cat news. Like him either way, but obviously with cat out, I'd probably like him a little more. I always like Brandon Miller, so I'm going to mention him. And then, I don't know. Beer, give us your thoughts on Zaire Williams.
Small forward sucks tonight. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, this is definitely the toughest position. I don't really love anybody. I know we have to play guys, so I'm gonna give you guys that I'm playing. Zaire at 30% owned is a little scary. I mean, I get it. He's minimum price, so cash games again, worry about ownership. But another guy I don't really love, but the price is attractive. I would rather play McGowan's, projected a little lower, but we're projecting him way lower on ownership. So if I'm making that call, it's McGowan's for me over Zaire Williams. Fine with Bain. I'm with you. I end up playing a lot of Desmond Bain, and you see the good and the bad of him. He can go off. He can totally disappear, but I do like the spot for him tonight against Chicago. I like the Keldon Johnson call, 4,700, good price on him here against Indiana. I'm with you on Brandon Miller, another guy I really like playing, 7,400 or 7,000, not bad. 8% owned on him, so that's a pretty good number against a Milwaukee defense. It's just not very good anymore. So those are the main guys for me. Williams and McGowan stand out from a value perspective, really popping on that 3K salary, obviously. And then some mid-range options. Naismith is fine. Champagny, we mentioned at shooting guard. I think he's fine. Kevin Herter. It's a lot of fine, Roth. It's just a spot that nothing is really exciting. I think most people are going to gravitate towards Zaire. So I think his ownership going to be even higher than what we're showing just because there's not many great options here. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I think McGowan's just a better play in tournaments. Zaire may end up outscoring him, and that goes for wash. But if you want to save some ownership, I think that's the way you can do it.
Okay, very good. Let's go to power forward, Beer.
Now, power forward, we have some options. Now, the top three options are all going to come with ownership. We won't talk about Zaire. You can play him here, but you're going to see a lot of ownership on Noah Clowney at 5K, on Zion at 7,500, and on Jalen Johnson at 9,900. I think all are great plays. Clowney, about the only guy that Brooklyn has left that can provide any offense. So I think he's probably my favorite. If I'm going cheap with these Brooklyn guys, it's going to be him. It's going to be Day'Ron Sharpe, who we'll get to. Zion at 7,500 is still underpriced. I think he's too cheap. And then Jalen Johnson, without Trae Young, certainly going to have to take on that much more. So I think Johnson, a guy that we know can put a triple-double on the board, has seen some massive ceiling games out of him. So those are the three best plays that are going to come with the most ownership. So outside of that, get a little bit different. I don't mind Pascal Siakam at 7,900. Really an attractive price. I mean, he's been up a lot more expensive than this, so we're getting a nice discount. And then we got to factor in the cat news. If he's out, we know Robinson's out. I think OG Anunoby becomes a much better play at 7,000 here. You're going to have to play more of the big body, more of the 4 probably for the Knicks. So he becomes a lot more interesting. Giannis, I'm still not there. If you want to spend the 10-9, go for it. But I don't know that they're going to just fully unleash him. So still worried about that. His minutes, we have under 30 again tonight. So that one I'm staying away from. And then another Nets value. With production been down, it's ugly, but Danny Wolf's getting an opportunity. And there you go. I was waiting on it. Queued it up for him, and he slammed it home. But Wolf was great at Michigan. He landed in a perfect situation, I think, here in the NBA with the Nets, a team that's just looking for, does anybody have an NBA future? Let's just roll these guys out there and see if we have anything. So he's going to have more opportunity without Michael Porter in there as well. Like we mentioned, no Thomas, no Porter. Somebody's got to put the ball in the bucket here. So Danny Wolf won't be as high. There we are. Well done.
Did you see? Yeah, it's a full moon tonight. Did you see his?
The
talk
Wolf
about narratives.
The Wolf supermoon.
Yeah. Did you see the brick that he did that hurt? That hit the ball, hit Durant in the face, and he told him that's a whack ass shot.
It's a trash ass shot. That's so good.
So that is a narrative. I did not know about the Wolf and the supermoon. So there you go. You keep your Jones Brothers narrative. Give me the supermoon and the Wolf narrative here.
I like it. Kirk, what do you like at power forward?
Yeah, I feel like tonight's the Wolf night. It's got to be. But I like Clowney a lot. He's probably my favorite of all of the Brooklyn guys. He's probably going to play center, which is nice. He also can shoot a bunch of threes, which is nice. He just has a bunch of different ways and they're going to need scoring, and he can do it. So I like him. Jalen Johnson is just the freaking man this year. I don't, you can fade him, but at your own peril any night. He's just ridiculous. Paulo Banchero is starting to come around. It's a good matchup against the Bulls for sure. Play fast and not so much defense. Zion, I was trying to think through Zion a little bit. It's like you look at the lineup he's playing with. So like Fears, Poole, McGowan, Messi, like are they wouldn't you just double the hell out of Zion and let someone else beat you? Like let that, or, well, I will say that he could get a lot of putbacks from Jordan Poole misses. I'll throw that in, but yeah, so I was just trying to think through it. I don't know. You don't get the huge minutes, but he should have massive usage. So he is a good play. Like I said, I like Wolf. This is probably the night for him. And I'll mention again Keldon Johnson. But if you're playing Keldon Johnson, play him over at small forward.
Yeah. Let's go to center. And we did mention, was it Diabate that's out? Somebody was out. Diabate. Does that open anything in that spot here, Kirk? What are we doing at center?
No, it's like two scrubs that are going to end up playing. Yeah, it was. I thought he'd be out. So, it's like Hill or somebody. I don't know. Center, we get Day'Ron Sharpe, 3,700 against Washington. Chalk. This is chalk I'd much rather eat. He's performed well in the past. He's got upside with blocks in a sloppy matchup. He put backs, all that. So I like him. If Cat plays, if we get that news, I think he's a smash. I think you can play Alexander Sarr always. I think this is a good, we got a nice little price dip here for 6,800 for Sarr in this really sloppy game. And we did see 28 minutes. So we're now increasing minutes, great game environment, just put up 45 against Milwaukee in 28 minutes. Sign me up, Alex Sarr. I always liked playing him, so I like him. And then Cornette is starting tonight for Wemby, and I think he should have a good game. He's 4K, so I like that.
Yeah, okay. Beer, your thoughts at center? I do want to point out our guy Kyle Murray says PJ Hall could draw the start, a G League stud.
Yeah, I have a little bit more interest in Kirk, but not a whole lot. I mean, he's 4K, so if it was a 3K type play, okay, but he's a little bit more expensive, so intriguing. I don't know that I'm going to land there. I agree on Sharp. I don't know how he doesn't smat. Maybe he gets in foul trouble. There's always a pass. If you wanted to fade it in tournaments, the reason why would be the 55% projected ownership we have on him. So But just such a good spot. And Washington better against the interior, but generally not a team that does well against centers. So great value there. I agree on the Sarr call. He's a guy I play a lot. He's not going to have any ownership tonight at 69 or 6,800. Cornette, the ownership probably come down. I think some people are going to be excited about this Hall news, and maybe you get less of an ownership number on Luke Cornette tonight. So 4K is a good price on him. I agree if Towns is in, he becomes a phenomenal play with the late news. 9K is still too cheap on him. And then you have other values that I don't think are going to be as owned. Missy at 37 is interesting. We mentioned Danny Wolf. Jalen Smith been playing a lot better for the Chicago Bulls. And speaking of the Bulls, I think Vooch is in play at 7,100 tonight as well. So lots of ways you can go. Donovan Clingan, another guy I like in the spot against the Pelicans. So this one, I wish we could transfer some of these guys over to small forward and get some more of these guys in our lineups, but so be it tonight. Lots of ways to go at center.
All right, very good. I want to jump it over to FanDuel first, though. You got to sign up for Pick Labs. The newest Fantasy Labs feature lets you scan for the best player props and pick a bets in seconds. It takes seconds. Everything's broken down for you. Edges, win rates, value. Basically just shows you what stands out across the board. Various sports books, other sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. And when you see something you like, Pick Labs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice for limited time. Get free access through a Fantasy Labs DFS subscription. You can visit fantasylabs.com/pricing and use the code FLEX20 for $20 off your first payment. It's amazing. Highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already done so. Let's go over to FanDuel, and Beer, you can start us off at point.
All right, we got a lot more games over here, so a lot more options, and we'll try to get you some different names. There's a lot of carryover that you can play on both sites, but with these additional games. So Golden State, obviously, going to be down a ton of pieces. No Curry, no Butler, no Draymond. So Spencer, very interesting at 3,800. Not a great matchup, obviously. You know, they could get blown off the floor here, but the difference is you're not spending a lot. You know, people worry about a blowout. When I'm spending 3,800, I don't need much from Pat Spencer. So I don't mind him. Pajemski, a little tougher of a click at 52, but he's obviously going to get a big bump in his usage here tonight. The New Orleans guys are still in play. Poole probably going to be higher owned over here at 5,400. So again, you can go to Alvarado, and Fears is more expensive than Poole. That'll save you on some ownership if you really want to get different here. So I do like that. Kirk brought up McCollum on DraftKings. I think he's playable over here on FanDuel at 6,100. Murray, a guy I still like over here at 91. Caleb Love is a value I don't think a lot of people are going to land on. He's probably under 5% owned, I would guess. So 4,600, risky for sure. But I think this is a guy that's going to get some opportunity here with this New Orleans team. So, or against this New Orleans team. So I like him. Demon still in play at 52. Still like Jones tonight, even though he's a little bit more expensive. So lots of ways to go. But those late games, Spencer really stands out as the best value to me.
Okay. Kirk, your thoughts at point?
Yeah, so we get Luka tonight. We get to see two of the best going at it. Luka versus Triple J. So must watch. Must watch TV.
Wow.
Tonight. So love that. We've got Jamal Murray, as Beer had mentioned before. 9,100 is a little tough, especially we don't if we're worried about them getting blown out, which is very possible. But if they don't, Murray's the guy who's going to keep them in this game. So he does have a nice ceiling and probably a decent floor, unless the blowout. CJ McCollum, I like that price, 6,100. So I'm in there. Jalen Brunson, I like the call with Pat Spencer. This is a guy who's performed in the past, had a nice little run going when he was given time. So with him, he's probably going to get somewhere around 25 minutes tonight. So I like it. I don't love it. And other than that, I mean, you can play Fox. You could play. I kind of like Jeremiah Fears tonight for 5,600 when everybody's playing Alvarado and Poole.
Okay, let's go to shooting guard, Kirk.
All right, pool party. Everybody's invited. Jamal Murray again, Stephen Castle again, Desmond Bain again, Jeremiah Fears again, CJ McCollum again. So there's a lot, it's all the same place. So I'll let Beer take the rest.
Yeah, it's funny on FanDuel. I think every single guy I'm looking at has the point guard, shooting guard eligibility. So Castle is going to be highly owned pool. Outside of that, I don't think ownership's going to be a huge factor here at this position. So again, McCollum at 61 looks like a great option against Brooklyn. Shaden Sharp at 7,100 and a good spot against the New Orleans defense. That's terrible. One of the worst defenses in all of basketball. So I like that. Devin Booker, $9K if you wanted to spend, isn't going to see any ownership in a good spot against Sacramento. Fears, as we mentioned, he's more expensive than Poole over here. So that will lower your ownership on him tremendously. I mentioned Donovan Mitchell on DraftKings. I like him over here as well at 9,400. Demon at 52. So point guard shooting, you're basically picking four guys. So from all the guys that we talked about, that most of them have that dual positional flexibility here on FanDuel.
Okay, let's go to small forward.
Small forward here, you get Danny Avdia at his correct position, in my opinion. Sure, he's been playing some point, but he's going to come with ownership. So I don't know that I want to buy into 40% ownership. I would rather save on a guy like OG Anunoby, who will have some ownership, but not nearly the potentially 40% on Avdia, or go up to Jalen Johnson. With his price at 10.8, it's going to keep people away. I think he's still going to be around 20% owned, but not as highly owned as he'll be over on DraftKings at 9,900. So outside of that, I'm not playing much LeBron James. It's a great price on him, but I'm not getting there. Danny Wolf at 39. Really? Yes. Haul it, baby. He'll come with some ownership as well, but cash games, I think it's a good salary saver. And even in tournaments, you find ways to get different. Keldon Johnson, 4,700, looks like a good tournament option. Moses Moody, a lot of these Golden State guys aren't coming with a ton of ownership, which is shocking because all the usage that's available there. So I think Moody's an interesting option here tonight. And that's all I've got here at small forward. Still ugly. So it's a little better because of the flexibility, but still not my favorite position.
Yeah. Kirk, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's Avdia.
You're howling at the moon.
It's Avdia, it's Wolf, it's Keldon or Jalen Johnson for me. Like you got, two high-end guys. You got Wolf for the value if you need them. So you can figure that out. If you want to go a little more, I think like Beer said, OG Anunoby is a good play. Mikal Bridges is a good play. They'll definitely get a boost if Cat is out, but they're fine plays always as is anyway. So like that. If you want to play one Sacramento King, because this Phoenix game, maybe Keegan Murray, you're going to get a lot of minutes, and that's about all I can guarantee you. But if you want to run back in that game or something, he would be my one guy. And that's about it.
Power forward.
All right. Okay. So Denny Avdia again. You can play here. It's crazy that DraftKings has him as point guard only.
I know.
That's the crazy
so
thing.
Weird.
Yeah. Denny Avdia, no Clowney. So he's going to be playing the 4 with Duron Sharp now starting at center, but he's going to be chucking, I think. So I like that against Washington. Danny Wolf again, but probably play him at small forward. Karl Anthony Towns, I love if he plays. And Sarr's a little bit more expensive over here, but you get the nice blocks, potential over on the FanDuel scoring the stocks. So I like him here. And then obviously tough to fit a little more with all these games and with like Luka as a priority and stuff, Jalen Johnson. But Jalen Johnson has just been absolutely insane. So I can't say don't play him.
Yeah. Very good. Beer, your thoughts of power forward.
Yep, lots of same names. Jalen Johnson on the high end, Clowney on the low end. Clowney's your cash game play for sure. If you don't have him in cash games, I don't know what you're doing. So tournaments, 50% owned. So some ways to get different in that same pricing range. Not a whole lot of ways, unfortunately. You could go to Keegan Murray. You could go to Peyton Watson. I think Kamara at 5,100. Those are probably your pivots in that range if you're looking to get different. And then in tournaments, Siakam again should be under 10%. We know the ceiling that he has. Cat with the late news is 9,200. OG, I think, he's in play whether Cat plays or not. But if Cat's out, that's a big bump for him. So I like him. I like the SAR call. 7,100, not a bad price on him. And then Evan Mobley, I think, is a solid option here tonight. There's no Jokic. I mean, they're missing a lot of big bodies, Valanciunas. So I think Mobley could have his way down low with this team.
Did get a question about Paolo here on FanDuel. Are you playing PB no J, as the kids call him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the price is the problem, and he's getting up there. So not one of my favorites, but he's a guy that, there's certain guys that are just going to be in play. So, I don't mind the matchup at all. I just haven't gotten to him.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. That brings us to center. Beer, you get to lead us off there.
All right, Daron Sharp again. Shouldn't see nearly the ownership. As we know, FanDuel, you only get one, so it's a risky proposition. But I think he absolutely crushes tonight. So he's easily my favorite at 4,800, and he'll see a majority of the ownership, which is going to leave everybody else as low owned. So whether it's Vooch at 7,200, I think he's a great play. I brought up Mobley and Sarr. I mentioned Klingon on DraftKings. His price even better over here at 6K tonight. I think I want to play some OKC guys. I'm also so worried about the blowout, but Chet Holmgren, it's a good price at 7,400. He won't have a lot of ownership either here tonight. I mentioned Jalen Smith. He should be about 1-2% owned. So, if you're worried about Sharp, and again, it's not as bad over here, probably 35%, but there are some ways to go. And we do have that Vooch narrative against his former team tonight. So add that to the list.
Okay, Kirk, your thoughts at center?
Yep, Daron Sharp is the chalk. I mean, he's good chalk in my opinion at 4,800. Donovan Clingan is in play, someone that can have a nice ceiling in this New Orleans matchup. Cat again. I like the Vooch call. I like Alexander Sarr. My one kind of out there play, I guess, it's really not. He doesn't get too many minutes, but the minutes have been coming up a little bit. Mark Williams, if you get the Alvarado fight, he's fired up. He's coming back now too. So I don't. He's someone that can put up 40 to 50 fantasy points if he's actually in his ceiling for 6,300. So with like absolutely no ownership. And I gotta mention, it's probably a really bad play at 8,200, but he's 1%, probably gonna be 1 to 2% ownership against the Lakers. And please, Steve, pull up the Triple J game log so people can see that I'm not crazy, that this guy does have a ceiling, he does have upside, and he's back. For 1 or 2%.
I didn't know you were such a Triple J fan.
Yeah. I mean, I was playing him on all those red games where he's just doing nothing, and I questioned his whole season. But then he's come back. I think he kind of needed Ja. He didn't want to be the man, like the focal point. And he's so handsy. I mean, who knows? That's the problem.
The foul trouble.
Yeah.
Lippy agrees with you on Triple J. I do not. I loathe that freaking guy.
Same.
But good luck to you. Good luck to you with it.
Appreciate it.
Guys, we are 5 minutes until lock. Let's see if we've got any questions coming in. Lippy says thoughts on Chet. Kirk, you got any thoughts on Chet?
Not the best matchup. Warriors price kind of high. I do like that he's power forward eligible, but I'm probably out on him tonight.
Okay. Beer got a question in the Discord from Arlo. It is a cash question. Bruce Brown, Avdia, and Zion, or Poole, Brunson, Vooch?
Second set for me.
Okay. DKGPP or Beer, Holmes, Cornette, or Hall?
I'm going to go Cornette.
Okay. Achilles says, Kirk, DK Cash, Bane Fears, or Zaire Cat?
Zaire Cat is the chalk cash way. I think the other fears for GPPs.
Yeah. Okay. Kirk, Brunson or Murray from the YouTube?
That's really close. If I knew the game would stay close, I would say Murray, but give me Brunson.
Okay. Beer, couple more for you. Carolina guy says your favorite low-owned spend up in a FanDuel GPP.
Low-owned spend up. I like Siakam. I think he'll be under 10% tonight. He's probably my favorite. I mean, you could get crazy with Giannis if you want to go there. I think Mitchell. So one of Mitchell or Siakam. I don't think sees a ton of ownership.
Okay. Can I play Harper, or is that crazy? His game log lately, his last few,
frustrating,
pretty tough. Maybe wait till he figures it out.
I think you can play him because he's one of those guys that's going to get you 5. He could still get you 40. So you still have that upside, as ugly as it's been. So I think he's in play. It's not safe, but
yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't be too
Kirk,
scared.
Got a few from you here. DK GPP, Kamara and Misi, or Naismith and Cornette?
Naismith, Cornette.
HC Clip Fan says DKGPP, Kirkwood, Brandon Miller and Trey Jones, or Brunson McGowans?
Wait, sorry. Brandon Miller versus who?
It was DKGPP, Brandon Miller and Trey Jones versus
Jones.
Brunson and McGowans.
Oh, man. I don't like McGowan. I guess you got to go Brunson McGowans, but I'll just say that.
Okay. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, a reminder, this show is free, and all that we ask is that for me battling through strep throat, for Kirkdiese, who may bleed out at any moment with 3 days of pinky blood, he could just fall out on us. He's got a glove like Michael Jackson. Just hit the thumbs up. That's all we're asking. Just hit. Can we look at that? God, you're bleeding so much.
Let me
you
see
have
if it's
3
bleeding.
bandages.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to see this, bud.
No, it's not bad right now.
Okay.
I acted like a cut man. I've been putting like Vaseline on it all day, like trying to like stop the bleeding.
you got to get that glue, man.
Yeah, that glue is nice.
Glue it shut.
Yeah,
I don't have it.
Oh,
I got the benefit of a nurse at home, so we have all the little gadgets and tricks, and
that's a plus.
And
man.
he just recovered from big surgery, and
Sure did.
it was kind of like, "Mom, where's the meatloaf, Mom?"
Oh,
It was like,
absolutely, absolutely.
Let's see. FanDuel single entry. Kirk, you prefer Sharp or Clowney?
Sharp. I like them both.
Okay.
I just don't see Sharp failing.
Did I miss these questions? DK Cash. I don't know if I missed. No, I think I got Bane Fears Beer or Zaire Cat.
I will go Bane Fears.
DKGPP, Kamara Misi or Naismith Cornette?
First set.
Okay. Your favorite elite FanDuel cash pay up is the Hawks guy?
It's Luka.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Luka getting trashed, by the way. He is not loved in LA like he was loved in Dallas, man. They are crushing him for his defense, which is fair. But
they didn't know that. They thought,
yeah, it's like that's on you. Like,
yeah, it's
you don't go from a trash defender to suddenly you're even serviceable. Like he's might as well not even play defense. Just stay on the other end. And
it's like going into Olive Garden and complaining about the food or something.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
You know what you're getting. Let's see. Big body or Champagne on DK, Kirk?
Big body all day, every day.
I don't know if you've seen that guy play. He plays so hard. He's so fun to watch.
And he can do it all. He can do a little bit of everything. He's good.
He just balls to the wall, tries for every rebound. He's super fun. What's his beer think about Spencer Jones tonight?
I don't have any. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good enough thought. We're moments until lock.
He's getting more run, which is what I'll say.
He's getting run, and he can do have good games, but I can't. I just look at him and I can't play him.
I mean, I've tried and I've hit on some, I've missed on some. Tonight I think there's better options.
Yeah. All right. We've hit the lock. We had one more question I didn't quite get to, so let's knock it out in case it's not too late. Beer, it's a 3v3. Trey Jones, Bain, and Poole, or McCollum, Brandon Miller, and Alvarado.
Both good. I'll go with the Jones-Bain pool combo.
Okay. And then Kirk, a post-question lock from Lippy. TJ McConnell, thoughts?
I haven't considered him at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So play him, Lippy. Go get him.
There you go. All right. With that, we're going to bounce on out of here. Good stuff as always.
Can I say one thing to the people?
Yes, please.
Tournament Takes podcast, week 18 tomorrow with Beer, my man Beer. Beer has been grinding, studying every incentive, going through all of this. So I can't wait for tomorrow. So come join us. And thank you.
I like how you just put all the pressure on Beer to make it a good show. You're like, it's Beer and I show,
You
but Beer's
notice
doing all
that,
the
right?
work.
Eric's like, my finger's bleeding. So
Yeah.
you got to take over, man.
Beer's carrying
We're
the load.
going to have all the week 18 is always crazy. And the news just keeps rolling it. That's why I compared it to tonight. It's like every hour there's something else hitting, but yeah, come join the show. If you want to play week 18, we walk through every position and build a lineup and we have some fun. So tomorrow at noon Eastern.
Very good. Lippy, Derek in the chat, rather, giving you some love. Tournament Takes is
Appreciate
legit.
that, Derek.
Yeah, so make sure you're checking it out. Guys, we're going to bounce on out of here for Kirk, for Beer, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. We appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.